Good evening, I'm Jeff Lyons. I kind of jumped the gun there a little early here on the countdown, so we'll let everybody get settled in. Now we're at 0, and we can start the 14 First Alert Weather Show at 9 o'clock here on Tuesday night, April the 14th. We have more warm weather on the way. I'll take your comments and questions in the 14 News Facebook page section there in just a few minutes. We have a warm evening out there right now. Temperatures still in the lower 80s and upper 70s, and we are tracking yet another day of record-setting warmth, and then some showers or thunderstorms moving our way on Thursday. Excuse me. And then we get another shot of rain over the weekend and cooler temperatures behind that. We tied the record today of 86. We didn't quite make it to our forecast high of 88. Tomorrow we will likely hit 86 or 87 again, so another tie or break of the record. And Friday, it looks like we will be in record territory again for warm temps. These upper 80s are more typical of at least late May, if not early to mid-June. Our temps around the area now still in the upper 70s with 79 at Evansville, 78 Henderson, 75 in Dundee. Our model showing a few clouds coming in tomorrow, but no rain. That rain will hold off until early Thursday morning, and at that stage we have a cold front, a weakening or decaying cold front moving in that will scatter some rain across the area during the morning, and that's about it. We may hear a few rumbles of thunder. We are on a level 1 risk for severe weather, marginal, meaning maybe a couple could be strong with hail. I think at that time of the day, though, our severe weather risk is very low. The record warmth then stays with us through Friday. Saturday, we begin to break down the heat with a cold front that'll bring some showers and thunderstorms, and then back into that normal temperature range for Sunday and Monday. And this is what that looks like. Actually, the GFS model has been pretty consistent with bringing a cold front through during the afternoon on Saturday. So we would anticipate some thunderstorms maybe out ahead of that by the afternoon and early evening. Behind it, we clear out and cool down. Winds will shift to the northwest. Temps will then fall to the normal range, 60s for Sunday and Monday, and maybe more rain then by the middle of next week. The storm potential here for tomorrow again stays well to our north. We have a pretty big severe weather outbreak going right now up around the Great Lakes. I'm going to show that here in a moment, and there you see our storm risk for Thursday there at 1 across the tri-state. Currently at 79 now, highs today 86 at Evansville, which tied the record. Those temperatures are about 6 degrees warmer than what we had last night at this time, and we are about 23 degrees warmer than the typical low and 18 degrees warmer than the normal high just for today. And so that makes our calendar a little more orange here as we move toward the middle of the month. We have more 80-degree days on the way, and hopefully some rain to fill in these squares as we finish out the week. We need the rain. We're about 1 inch and 6/10 behind normal. The drought monitor will update tomorrow, but as you know, we have abnormally dry conditions over the bulk of the tri-state. All right, now we get into the severe weather. I'll zoom it in here. So, well, I don't think we want to go in space. We probably want to have it a little closer going this way. And we've had some very heavy rain moving across Lake Michigan and into Michigan itself. And there's an actual tornado there. That purple indicates a tornado there that would be near Kenosha, I believe, in Wisconsin, out to the north of Chicago. And a few severe thunderstorm warnings to the north of Chicago. Then on the other side of the lake here, we have a string of severe thunderstorms moving in toward Grand Rapids, all with heavy rain, damaging winds, and possible hail. This is all in response to that cold front that we've been waiting on to move in here and generate some showers. Unfortunately for us, the cold front will kind of lose its edge or definition, and we're not expecting thunderstorms as a result, or at least not many, and therefore not much rain either. As I showed you before, our best chance for rain arrives early Thursday morning and then kind of fizzles out through the rest of the day, and we clear out on Friday. The GFS and European models both advertising this idea of a weekend cold front and then a cool down for the first part of next week. We'll go over here to the rainfall potential, and the GFS is still not really too terribly generous with rain. And this takes us all the way up through Wednesday, not even an inch in there. I think if we do get some thunderstorms, it's reasonable to expect a few pockets of heavier rainfall. The European also brings that cold front through during the afternoon and evening on Saturday, dries us out Sunday, and then brings the clouds back in early next week. The European rain amounts are pretty much as stingy as the GFS, right around 1/2 inch to 3/4. 68 tonight, just a few clouds overhead. Tomorrow up to 87. That'll be a record, surpassing 86 from 2024. And then we get into the weekend with that thunderstorm chance and finish out with cooler temps that will carry into next week. Longer range though, and this gets us up to the end of April. We're still anticipating warmer than normal and somewhat wetter than normal conditions. The best chance for heavier rainfall appears down to our southwest. All right, we'll let Paisley mope there on the table for our pet pick tonight from Riley Seibert. And I'll check your questions here on the 14 News Facebook page comment section. So if you got a question or comment, you can throw it in there and I'll be happy to respond to it if it's something I can answer. Can I explain why the winds are so much greater today than years ago? Does it have to do with the Gulf? I think it can do with less wooded areas and less fence rows. You know, this topic comes up a lot. You've hit on something. Obviously, it seems windier. It has been quite windy here this year. And last year, if you look back, we had several wind advisories, and just in general, it's windy. One thing to keep in mind is that in the spring, especially April, May, late March, it is windy because we're making the transition from kind of a stable winter pattern into more active summer pattern. Having said that, we had some awfully windy days in the winter as well. And so I think personally, you mentioned hedgerows and less timber or stands of trees that would kind of damp out the wind a little bit. That could have something to do with it. I think it's probably driven more by stronger systems in the atmosphere, lower lows that move through, and this could be an outcrop of climate change. More energy in the atmosphere to begin with would generate stronger storms, like that low up there in Wisconsin that we were just looking at with the severe weather around it. It's really hard to make a one-to-one correspondence and say, well, or correlation, because climate change has a lot of question marks around it still too. The climate is changing. I'm not a climate denier here by any stretch. But what gets difficult when we're trying to figure out, well, is it windier now than 2 years ago? And anecdotally, yeah, we notice it's windier. But to really do the science, you have to have what we call empirical data, right? You have to have numbers, and like average wind each day, stuff like that. And I don't know that anybody has really done much study into the relative windiness, say this year or this decade versus the last. But I suspect that the warming climate has a hand in it, and some of it's just chance. If you get stronger low pressures over or nearby, you're going to have the stronger winds in there too. It's just windy, that's all, nothing to do with climate change. Well, yes and no. He asked what causes it, and so from the cause standpoint, it could be a number of things. Wind is simply air moving from an area into an area of low pressure to try to fill it out or to equalize the pressure. Heard the old saying, nature abhors a vacuum. And so when you get these low lows or intense storms, you're going to have stronger winds. And that can be due to climate change. It can be due to daily weather. It's just hard to say. All right, let's see. Who else has a thing here? Zach wants to know if we're going to have any severe Saturday. I wouldn't rule it out at this point. We're not seeing anything that's really like a red flag, but it's going to be awfully warm and humid. The air behind the front much colder. So yeah, we've got at least I think a chance that we would see a few strong storms. William Raleigh, Pray for Sheboygan, Michigan, as the dam is. Yeah, I know. I was talking to Aaron Santini, the afternoon guy at Wiki. I do their weather every afternoon, and he's from up in that area. He's in near the Thumb in Michigan, and said the same thing. They'd had flooding and incredible rainfall up there. Carolyn Lovelace, hey from Hobstadt. Jeff Miller did a rain dance today and sprained his ankle. Well, you're the reason it's windy then. Everybody knows a sprained ankle causes strong winds. Well, I hope you feel better. Get it on some ice. Maybe stick some medicine down there in the ice and drink it right out of the bottle. That might help too. Karen Duckworth from Morganfield, what time for the rain Thursday morning and afternoon? I think the rain would be earlier in the day, probably before noon, based on what we're looking at. Okay, I think that got everybody answered there. Yeah, and not to beat a dead horse here with the wind question, but it is interesting. That's something that given more time and resources to look at, I would love to know too if it's windier now than it has been, because I've had a lot of people say that very thing to me. One thing, we're all here, we all experience the weather. Over time, our memories tend to kind of highlight the bigger stuff, stronger winds, tree fell down, stuff like that, big snows. And you think, wow, when I was a kid, we always had a lot of snow, or it was always not windy. You tend to forget stuff. And that can play into it also. But yeah, just, in the last couple of years here, I've noticed an uptick just in wind advisories. So that's like 35-mile-an-hour gusts. We had a high wind warning early in the year. That was in the winter. You never see those around here. So yeah, something to think about. I'll do a little digging. How about that? I do my job, right? Do a little digging and see if we can at least get an answer on that. Another question that often comes up, sometimes with kids, but sometimes just with anybody, is how do clouds form and produce rain? And the simple answer goes all the way back maybe to second or third grade for you, the water cycle. So we have evaporation, where the sun heats the ground and the water that's in the soil, and that is released into the atmosphere as water vapor, and it goes up. And as it encounters that colder air aloft, it becomes a cloud. Within a cloud, then we have dust particles, pollen, all sorts of things, and we call that condensation nuclei, the brown one here. And what happens is droplets of water then are attracted to those little particles up there, aerosols, and that's how a water droplet begins to form. And as more and more droplets get on there, the raindrop itself gets heavier. Eventually, it overcomes gravity or overcomes whatever's buoying it or keeping it up, and it falls to earth. And that's how we get rain or precipitation from a cloud. And that kind of goes hand in hand with what cloud seeding is. And I've been asked this too, especially since we're in abnormally dry or moderate drought in parts of the tri-state. Why don't they just seed the clouds? Well, there are a lot of reasons. It's very expensive for one, and as I'm going to show you here, it doesn't always work either. But cloud seeding was actually first attempted in the 1940s. And the idea was, remember those condensation nuclei I showed you, the little dust particles or pollen. The people trying it, the scientists thought, well, what if we use silver iodide or some kind of powdery substance in the atmosphere that the raindrops would adhere to and then fall out? And so they've tried it with a number of things. Dry ice has been used. And as it turns out, if you do seed a cloud, you can sometimes increase the number of condensation nuclei and therefore generate rain. But this really is only practicable in places out west, like ski resorts and that, where you have kind of a concentrated area that you're trying to get rain. And then the other issue, of course, you're dealing with clouds, and so they move, and sometimes you might seed the cloud and then it goes elsewhere. About the best you can do is to increase whatever that cloud was going to produce rainfall-wise by about 10%. So you can see it's not really cost-effective and not really able to be done over a wide area. Who's doing cloud seeding? The government does not do that. The government approves or denies requests or licenses to do this sort of activity. But it's typically done, ski resorts, sometimes cities will have it done, or farm, agriculture to get extra rain. But you got to have clouds with enough water vapor in them for it to work. Cloud seeding can't create storms. It doesn't affect hurricanes. And it cannot be done on a very wide scale, which is why you don't hear much about it here in the Midwest. Typically we have rain, or at least enough rain or enough water to draw to irrigate, that cloud seeding wouldn't make any sense. Okay, so a little science corner for you there. See if we have any more questions. I know we need the rain, but can't complain about all these beautiful days we've had. I know it this is, somebody said to me, this is our 2 weeks of spring, and then it'll be hot and humid. Well, that was last week, and of course now it's hot and humid. So, or it's not hot yet, we're not at 90, but it's pretty darn warm out there. So yeah, do enjoy the spring weather here. The azaleas are blooming. A lot of the flowers are coming up or out already. So it is a beautiful time of the year, and it just gets better here as we move through spring into summer. All right, that's all I have for you tonight. I will see you over on 14 News at 10. In the meantime, stay safe. Thanks for watching.